from That Feeling Podcast. This is the Wrestling With My Thoughts podcast, hosted by Blak Makk. Tonight, we go one-on-one with the ultra funny, always busy, always classy comedian Sam Ridley. And now your host, Blak Makk. What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Bread Like a King, made as Calvin Cayley, and today I am joined by an up-and-coming, well, I ain't even going to say up-and-coming, because this brother's damn near established at this point. You know what I mean? So he's been working comedy for a really long time. Very funny brother. He's doing the show tonight in Apple Valley. If you're near that area, please go check him out. If you're not in tune with him, search Sam Ridley. I'm pretty sure somebody said somewhere that in your circle that they hate Sam Ridley.
I'm on a regular basis. Hey, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it. Good to be here. We've been trying to set this up for a minute.
I know, man. This has been like one of the hardest podcasts to try to do with somebody, man. But here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are.
I'm like, we are the busiest not busy people ever to try and sit in a room together.
Seriously. Yeah. So it's finally happening. So how's your comedy been going, man?
Man, it's been going good. It's just like any other, thing that you try and do. It's got the ups and downs and try and stay out of the negativity. One of the things I always got told was like, don't major in minoring. Like so many people get caught up. Like at my level, nobody cares about your beef. You know what I'm saying? It's like you beefing with somebody that got 6 followers. Like what you doing? So yeah, man, you just gotta kind of keep your head up and keep moving.
Right on. It's funny you mention beefs because thing with you don't mention comedians or people don't regularly mention comedians and having beef, but that type of thing actually happens.
Oh my God. It is the petty. I think they're worse than rappers.
Really?
I think they're worse than rappers. Like you'll see rappers, they'll kind of go at it, but it's on wax, Like,
right.
We making a track, we making some money. We'll be mad in people DMs. Ain't
nobody
right. Getting paid.
What is that like a somebody stole your joke type of thing or?
Okay, I'll give you a prime example. It's a cat on Wildin' Out named Royce.
Okay.
And when the Popeye's chicken sandwich came out, I dropped a video. If y'all ain't seen it, look that up. It's like a Denzel Washington dub over 5 million views. Real fast.
Right.
So about 4 days later, his page pops up with a video with the same
kind of content?
Well, the same. I mean, we both talking about a chicken sandwich.
Right.
But the captions was almost the same, but neither of us said anything that was exactly the same. And his dub over was nowhere near what mine was.
Right.
And I'm not saying that as a slight to him. What I mean is we just weren't saying the same thing.
Right.
But I got caught up in it. I ain't gonna front. When people start hitting me up, yo man, this cat then stole your bit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm up and coming. He already on TV.
Right.
So I was like, this happens a lot. So
you know that's common.
It is.
In rap, it's common. Like you may hear some of the same material, even some of the same beats. You might hear somebody on the same beat, and you might have a problem with. You might feel some type of way
Absolutely.
about it. Right.
And at first I was like, you know what? It ain't no big deal. But once something gets 5 million views, you have no control over where it is.
Yeah.
So about a week in, I started getting like tags from strangers tagging me and him, like, yo, why you steal this cat stuff? To him.
Wow.
And then his boys jumped in, and you know how Wildin' Out is.
Right.
So they was like,
it's a platform.
It's a platform for that type of battle rap, roast, whatever. So finally, somebody ended up tagging me and him in the same post. And I'm like, I don't know this cat. We got some mutual friends.
Right.
He's a comedian like I am. And he was all like, look, why don't y'all either shut the hell up or tag this dude? And I want to see his video and mine, and we'll put them next to each other. And I'm looking, and I'm like, 5 million views in my hand.
Right.
5,000 in his hand. I don't need to compare nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that wasn't even a cap. I told him straight up. I was like, for real, the clear winner here is Popeyes. It ain't even us.
Definitely.
Like if we being really real, you sat in your house and did something. I sat in mine and did something in 10 minutes.
We beefing over a chicken sandwich.
That we probably sold out for them. You know what I'm saying? I doubled my followership. So for me, it was a win. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, I'm not about to beef with him over a clip that both of us stole from Training Day. Like, come on now. Like, what are we doing? For we get a call from Denzel. So, let's not do this.
Right. I mean, I get that.
Right.
Just from the creativity standpoint. And I guess, like, having that platform helped him out.
Yeah.
And then people will probably be quick to defend him because he does have that platform. So I do understand that.
Right.
I would have felt some type of way, too. Just the fact that he's on Wild 'N Out and this is my idea, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but he has 1 million followers on Facebook.
Right.
So for him to come to my page where, collectively, I think I got about 15K.
Right.
So I'm like, why would he steal from me? But it happens.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? So it was worth a look.
Obviously, you're doing something right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously.
That means I'm on the right track.
Right, right.
And there's Mencias out there. So, you got to check those types
for
of
the
things.
Mencias out there, explain for the people that don't know.
Okay, well, if you're into comedy at all, he's one of the higher tier ones that got accused of stealing from a lot of people, like the Joe Rogans and all that type of stuff, saying that he was stealing jokes. And so it makes you wonder. I've been to shows and done a joke, and me and a guy will have like the same premise, which is the beginning of the joke. Right. And then we'll have to jump back and be like, hey, man, next time we on a show together, don't do that, or I'll do it, or whatever. Just because, so people don't go, man, they got the same bit. Right. It happens.
Especially if you're on the same card, right?
Yeah. Right. I just a skinny comic I'm friends with, Daniel Eaches, hilarious guy. And he's on the come up. And both of us do bits about being skinny people. Right. You know what I'm saying? And then one of them just happened to be real, real similar. I didn't steal it from him. He didn't steal it from me.
It's just
we just both
great minds think alike,
and had a concept, and that was it. You know? So yeah.
Wow.
It happens.
Awesome, man. I mean that's an awesome story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just sharing that side of it. So how did you? At what point did you figure out like, hey, I want to do comedy? This is the road I want to travel.
It didn't hit me that way.
Really?
Like, I've sat in rooms when people got asked this question, and I was like, from a young age, man, I just knew that was in me. Right. That's bullshit. Like, let's call that what it is. No, that's not what happened.
So there was no. Oh, I went to a comedy show. I saw this guy, and I was like, "Oh, this is what I want to do."
No,
there was no story.
It was never that. It was never that. Like I started 7.5 years ago. Okay. And I was, the funny guy. But I'm gonna tell people right now, just because you funny around your friends, does not mean you need to get on that stage. Right. So you might need to go to your living room and just entertain them. Okay. It's just not for everybody. Right. And that's who I thought I was, And I was overseas, and a comedian came up to me after the show that I didn't even go to see the show. I was drunk, and it was at the bar, so I was like, whatever. And afterwards, he heard me just joking with my friends, and he was like, "You should try this, man." And really? I was like, "Man, this ain't. I'm just cooling, man. You know what I'm saying?"
Now, were you reluctant to do it at first?
Well, yeah. He said, if you ever go to California, promise me you'll hit a stage. Wow. And I was in Korea. I was in the Air Force. Okay. I was in Korea on my way to Italy. So I was like, I ain't going to California. So you know what? I'll do it. How about that? If I go to California, I'll do it. And Italy sent me to California. So, I was
So you had to hold. So this was you holding up a promise. Right. That's fucking dope, man.
I was like, I'll try it. Since it happened to happen that way. Right. And about a year and a half after that, me and him ended up on a show together. Wow. The same dude. And I was like, he was like, you look familiar. And I was like, I told him the whole story. And he was like, I remember that. I gave you one of my CDs. Right. I was like, yeah, I ain't listened to it. But, somebody hand you a mixtape.
Right. Sure. All right, I'll listen to it.
Sure thing,
shit out of here.
Right. Gotcha. Cool story, buddy. So yeah, I was like, yeah, man, this is what happened. And then it turned into a thing. It turned into a career. So, yeah.
So when you did it, obviously you caught a bug, right?
I did. Right. At first, I was like, okay, this is cool. But it was the people at the comedy club that believed in me and was like, you've been doing this a month and a half, and you're not ready, but there's something there. Right. So you should keep it up, and see what you can do. So,
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. So I did a podcast a couple of weeks ago about, like, comparing the hip-hop game to wrestling. So there's a lot of similarities there. So with comedy, there's also a lot of similarities there, too. Well, in your case, not. Okay. After hearing your story, that's like, I don't know a lot of people that start out that way, if anybody. Yeah, right? Yeah. So a lot of the ways you get into wrestling is like there's somewhere that you find out like this is what I want to do, right?
Like a weight room. Or
right,
something.
right.
Okay.
Normally it's somebody's backyard. I mean, everybody pretty much was in grandma's house on that old ass couch.
Backyard wrestling?
Yeah, hell yeah, man.
That's how they get in for real?
That's how they get into it. Like I'll give you an example. One of the greatest tag teams, the Hardy Boys.
I remember them. Yeah.
Started out backyard wrestling.
I would say the Dudleys was better, but you know.
Dudleys are better.
Yeah. Okay.
But I will agree with you. The Dudleys are better. But they started out backyard wrestling. They still do it, actually.
Who's looking over these fences to just be like, hey, look at them cats in that backyard?
They caught a following.
That seems like they should be in jail. Like,
right.
Peeking over my fence.
Right.
While I'm wrestling with my boy.
Right.
that's strange.
Right. So they caught a following. They figured out how to make their own thing, and here they are. You know what I mean? So the comedy route seems like it could be kind of similar. You play the low end clubs, and you don't have so much of a following, and then obviously you have to plug and work. So, what's the end game for a comedian?
It depends. It depends on what they're looking for. I personally, it's changed since I started. When I first started, I remember being like, I want to just be able to work consistently. That was all I asked for. I never wanted to be Kevin Hart.
Right.
And I say that, and people be like, well, why wouldn't you want to be Kevin Hart?
He's successful.
He's successful and all of that, and that's great. But he also can't go to Target. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can't.
Right, you can't live a normal life.
You know what I'm saying? I like my anonymity, man. I like being able to just be like, I'm going to go hit up this spot right now.
Right.
So just to be able to work consistently across the country is great.
Right.
Because there's a lot of real funny comics that a lot of people just don't know. I was on the road with this cat, Michael Harrison, and he's tearing up the comedy scene.
Mm-hmm.
But just like you in the wrestling, there's stuff happening in wrestling that most people probably have no idea about unless they're into it.
Right. You have to be a fan of the art form.
So if you're a fan of comedy, you probably know who Michael Harrison is.
Right.
If you're looking at dry bar clips and things of that nature, you kind of mess with comedy, but you're not into comedy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you really want to say it, I would rather be like him. Nobody knows who he is.
Right.
He's probably clearing $100K a month. Who would know that?
Right, unless you actually know who he
follow
is.
it. You know
now,
what I'm saying?
Do you have to work I imagine you have to work hard to get like to that point to where
absolutely. Absolutely.
So I mean, not to dive that deep into it, but like what's the rate that you have to be at to be
rate as far as
like work rate?
Oh, okay. Just to stay in the public eye.
Right.
You know what? Depending on who you ask, because I can't speak for all of them.
Right.
They'll say you're not a comic if you don't work X amount of time, if you're not doing this amount of stages. And I used to feel that way.
Right.
When that first year, I made $0. And every Monday I would get off the day job and drive down to Universal City Walk to go to John Lovett's club. Every Monday.
Wow.
Every Monday, $0.
Wow, on your own dime.
On my own dime.
Wow.
So, if y'all wondering why there's so much smog in California, it's comedians.
Somebody's trying to make it out
down.
here.
That's all it is. It's comedians with no Priuses. Okay? So, that's exactly what it is. But, so at first I was like, I got to do, I was driving that open mic and then I try and do 2 more during the week.
Right.
And just keep on doing it. Now, if I do 2 shows a week, I'm good.
Okay.
Because it's good for me, though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's some people that are trying to be Kevin.
Right.
I'm just trying to work. You keep your name out there. You can do a lot more from email and social media and all of that than driving.
Okay.
And I think the mold has changed. We're not in the hand somebody a mixtape game no more.
So that's funny you say that. So how much does social media play into the comedian side of things?
Oh man, if you don't have a social media presence, a lot of clubs won't talk to you.
Really?
They won't even. They'll be like, well, how many followers you got? Which is ridiculous because you can have 10,000 followers. That don't mean all of them live in Orange County, if the show is out there.
Right.
So I'd be like, I got 10,000 followers. They're in Virginia, and they're not coming tomorrow.
Wow.
But that's right. Some of them care about that.
Wow. So I guess so does that change how you work?
No.
It doesn't change the material at all?
No, but because you have to be able to be versatile enough to work anywhere. So I can't do all material about Palmdale, or I can't do all material about wherever you are. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be able to just talk and relate
in
to
a
people.
general sense.
Yeah. Okay. Because nobody wants to, if you go to a show and this dude is like, man, let me tell y'all about Wisconsin. You're gonna be like, I don't care. Like, I'm not in Wisconsin.
I'm not in Wisconsin.
If that's not your neighborhood, nobody's gonna care. So yeah, you got to be able to kind of relate to people in that respect. Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah,
makes a lot of sense. So, dang, I had a question. I had a question in my head.
Well, like, who do you follow? Like, what kind of comics appeal to you?
So you know what? One of my favorite comics is Corey Holcomb.
Okay, Corey don't care what comes out.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right.
I like Corey.
So I like the Corey Holcombs. I'm getting into Tony Baker. I wasn't really up on like who he is really, but I started following him more. So I kind of like what he's doing right now.
Tony's cool.
Man. Yeah, I like Tony. I like Tony a lot.
Yeah, I worked with him at the Improv, and I remember when I met him, I was starstruck.
Really?
Like, it still happens, And this was before, like, I saw him on TV, and now, like, all them animal videos that he be posting.
Man, hilarious.
Like, the cram,
yeah.
He be crushing
hilarious.
And after the show, like, everybody has, like, a process. Let me back up. Like, before they go on, some comics pace, some of them start kind of mumbling to themselves, and I ain't say nothing to them, I went up, did my thing, and afterwards, like, everybody was, like, at the kickback. And I went up and I was just like, man, I've been a big fan, and my brain shut off. Like, I ain't say nothing past that. And he was just like, all right, man, you know what I'm saying? You do you, And he just kind of filled it in. I'm sure he get that a lot.
Right.
But I saw him again later on, and I was like, man, that was the most awkward.
That's an awkward meeting.
I want to apologize for something you don't remember. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And he just kind of laughed, and he was like, bro, it's all good. Like, I know how it is. You know what I'm saying? I done met my heroes. Now I done become people's heroes,
Right.
It's awkward. But, boy, I felt stupid. The whole drive home, I was like, man, I feel like
I should have did this differently.
Yeah.
I felt like that. I've met Sergeant Slaughter. Like,
oh, and I know you geeked out.
Man, went ballistic. Like, and the only thing I could say, like, at the time, I was like, I used to have your G.I. Joe. That was the first G.I. Joe I ever had.
Yes.
And he was just like, yeah, okay, all right, cool.
It's
like so much I wanted to say, but in that moment, it's like, I had your G.I. Joe, yay. All right.
He probably didn't know what to say to me.
Right. Just awkward. The whole meeting was just awkward.
I met Rikishi. I did a show at the Comic-Con in Long Beach, and he was there. At
booth, really?
And he still looked the same. And it was crazy because, like, I thought he was dead. I don't know why. Like, I was like, oh shit, that's Rikishi. I thought he had passed away.
Wow.
And fortunately, I didn't say that. Hey, what's up, man? I was a big fan. Good to see you alive. No. He happened to be at the booth next to where we was doing comedy, so he heard us. And,
oh, wow.
And when I came down and we was just kind of standing around, he was like, yo, good stuff, man. And that was when I used to, like, really be into wrestling. That, like, rock era.
Right.
Was it Too Cool and Scotty Too Hot?
Yeah,
that's what they were.
Yeah, Too Cool was the group name.
Yeah, so he was like, "Oh, you a Renaissance wrestling fan, And I was like, "Well, I didn't think I was that old, but yeah, that was when I used to watch, And he was cool as hell. It's interesting to see them outside of the ring, just being a person.
Right. Because you're so used to seeing them in character.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So does that apply to the comedians too? Like, do you have people that meet you and be like, you're supposed to be the way that you are on stage?
Oh yeah, we're not allowed to be a human.
Right.
We're not. Matter of fact, comics do that. Like, if I go to a show, let's say it's a light audience that night, and we see a bunch of comics, we'll be like, it's only like 2 real people here. And we don't even consider ourselves people. And
holy
in the venue,
shit.
It's weird. Not that we're not like human, but we're not allowed to be.
You know what? I get where you're coming from.
We're not allowed to be.
I get where you're coming from. Because rappers do the same thing. So, like, if I was to do a show and, like, I see the majority of the people on the card, like, in the crowd, then be like, ain't nobody here.
Right.
Really. You know what I mean? I'm just entertaining the people that got to come up here anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's how it gets looked at. I can't be a regular person around my uncles.
Wow.
Like, my old uncles, like, as soon as I show up, they be like, so. You know how old people start hitting you with that? As soon as they say so and giggle, they got a joke in their head. And I'm like, oh, just stop telling me jokes, bro.
Right.
I don't.
I'm off work.
I'm
right
off.
now.
I'm chilling.
Right.
I just want to see the family. Like how you doing? You know, can
Right.
we talk right quick?
Right.
And he's like, no, but you want to hear this one because you might want to use it.
I got something for your shoulder.
Right. So my shoe was untied last week. That's not gonna get it. That's not gonna get it.
The setup's just all bad. It's
Yeah.
all bad.
I gotta see him for Chris. Uncle Lewis, I don't care. Okay, let's just hang out.
Let me announce this right now.
Let's chill.
I'm just here for Christmas.
Let's frolic, enjoy each other's company, and call it good. Yeah, it's rough because if you meet people, I run into a lot of people in the mall or just at random. It don't happen that much, but when it does happen, they expect me to remember all their names.
Right.
I've done shows for around 100,000 people at this point, and
you're not gonna remember everybody.
You know, but when you're up there, you rapped. Everybody feel like we cool. It's just me and you in this room.
You're dope. I enjoyed your show. Now you're supposed to know me.
Now, yeah, because they make it pretty awkward sometimes. You know, because I might not remember their name, but I'm good with faces.
Okay.
So I might be like, oh, you were at one of the shows.
Right.
And that's as far as it goes. But the ones that like want to stop and expect me to kind of have a rapport with them, I'm like, you was 10 rows back. We didn't talk.
Right.
You know, when you came out, you might have said, I liked your show, and I always appreciate. But it's not realistic to feel like I'm gonna know every single name. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I get that too.
I be forgetting my little cousins' names, so Oh man, but yeah, it's been an interesting ride, and I wouldn't change it for nothing. There's some things I wish I hadn't done because it's easy to make a bad decision.
Right.
But I had some good tutors that kind of taught me like stay away from this, don't do these types of shows.
Right.
Stay away from people that ask you to do X, Y, and Z just to get paid. Like the pitfalls.
So does it make you more appreciative of the ride or the journey?
Yeah, it does, and it gets frustrating like anything else.
Right.
But like I said, different people got different goals. So if I remember asking, like, I just want to be able to do this consistently and be good at it.
Right.
Like not go up with what they call the laugh ears and think that you're doing well. Like like I don't know if you saw the Joker yet. But,
I have not.
Okay. But there's a big stand-up component to it.
Okay.
So I thought that was interesting, and it ain't really giving nothing away. But like, there's a point where he was like doing his thing on stage, and I think the way they shot it was weird, but he thought they was enjoying the show.
Oh, and they were mortified?
Well, but see, again, that's why I said I don't know, because as a comic, I'm looking at it with a different lens.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't think that he's doing well. And they're painting it as if he is, but it's done so artsy, man. And I think a lot of comics get that, where they'll be like, oh, they think I'm killing it right now.
Right.
You're not killing it. You're not.
You're bombing right now.
Bombing pretty hard. Yeah.
So, and that's one of the things, like with any form of entertainment, right? So you're not gonna always do well.
No.
So how do you combat like bombing a show? Like, how do you get over that? Because I can imagine it's pretty tough.
I'm gonna say this, and I guarantee some people gonna be like, "Oh, he being vain right now." I have bombed twice.
Right.
In 7 years.
Wow.
And what I mean, okay, everybody got bombing different,
Right.
And I remember exactly. I was in Las Vegas. One of them was in Vegas, and one of them was at a show I did. Goodness, it was out in San Bernardino area. I can't remember where it was at.
So before we go further, so define your idea of bombing.
Okay.
Because everybody's idea of not doing well is different.
Okay, there's a space a comic goes to in their head, and I've seen some come out of it and some bomb and recover, where you're like, I just want to leave. Like, you just feel it in your head, like, I lost him. Can I get him back? No, I don't think I can.
Right.
And there were like 2 times where I remember being like, I cannot recover from this, and that was those times. I was in Las Vegas at a room, and I misread the room. I never blame the audience. Right. That's one thing I hate.
Right.
I misread what I should have done when I got up there.
Okay.
And it was a majority African American room, and this is just how it is. If you're in a room that's mostly black women and men, the black women control the laughter. Period. Period. You don't say nothing that's not going to because the men get permission to laugh.
To laugh, right.
From their woman.
Right.
And I was doing this bit about dating different races of women.
Oh.
And I mentioned before I even got a chance to get to the part where, you know, sisters is where it's at, that white women was great. And you just saw,
you lost them in that moment.
I could feel, you know, in Silent Hill, how the room turned rusty.
Without even being there and listening to the act, I could tell where you lost them.
I knew, but you know, and I knew in that moment, like I could feel myself in slow motion going, white women. And I could see the women like turning to their men, and their men was like, nope.
I'm not laughing at this.
I gotta go home. I gotta go home, bro. Like, stick the shea butter on this one, you know? And I felt that.
Right,
and at first I was like, all right, this was dumb. And I ended up kind of getting the crowd back, but the show didn't go well.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? And I knew it wouldn't.
Right.
I knew it would. I ended up getting off stage like 5 minutes early. I remember even telling the booker, I know I didn't do my allotted time. I get it if it affects the pay.
Right.
You know, but I messed up. I didn't read the room right.
Right.
And it was like, I think that was like year 4 too. So I was still very, very young in learning how to do that.
Right.
And
so did that mess up your confidence in any way?
That night.
Okay.
And for a little bit, I was like a little gun shy. You know,
Right.
I was like, all right, these types of rooms, maybe they're not feeling my vibe. But that wasn't what it was. It was, I just didn't word the joke properly.
Right.
And that's one of the things, man, when people see comics online, on Twitter, on Facebook, that is a first thought. You know, I just thought of this sitting on my couch. The stuff we do on stage has been like rewritten over the course of years.
Right.
So every word has to fit in a space, and my wording was wrong because I've done the same thing in a black room, and it works because I knew how to flip it and make it, you know, relate to the audience.
Right.
So the art
just that night, it didn't go over well.
I didn't do it right. I didn't do it right. Like, if you out there blaming the audience, you trash. Like, it is not the audience. Like, we're there to entertain them. So how, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that don't make sense to me.
Right.
That don't make sense. Oh.
Okay. I got it.
People gotta learn that. But on the same token, like, if you go to a show with the intention of not having a good time, like, come on, man.
I don't get that.
People do that.
Yeah, I don't get that. It's like, why come out if that's your purpose?
They didn't get no attention from their mama when they was little. Ain't no telling. But people will leave their house with the intention of messing with a comic that's there to perform for everybody.
Right.
So I've never understood that.
So the hecklers, right?
Yes.
Right.
Don't you have friends that's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna mess with this comic?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And there was one time I was in Korea too, and one of my friends, and this is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. They had a comedy night at the NCO club over there, and one guy, that's all he did. Every act that came on stage, he was just messing with them. And
nobody was gonna put him out overseas.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So yeah.
Just messing with them. And then I think the second to last guy is when he shut up, because that guy, his set wasn't going well until he started messing with him. Oh, he went in on him.
Oh, see.
That was probably, he was like, I want to thank you because you saved my act.
See, okay, so he uses it as a crutch.
Right.
But yeah, like, as a whole, like, why? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
yeah.
what is it? Was he drunk? Was he drunk?
Not yet.
Not yet.
He had been drinking, but he wasn't drunk yet.
I never understand that mentality. Like,
Yeah.
I want to go out and make the show about me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no, it don't matter about the other 100 people that came out. This might be their only night out this week.
Right.
To get in and see a comedian, and I want it to be about me.
Right.
You know, because like, if you do that at like the Improv or the Factory or the Comedy Store, or any big name club, they're gonna put you out of there.
Oh wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Just for messing with them.
No, and it's not like the comics are so like, people are like, oh, the comic was pussy, he want me to talk. It's got nothing to do with that.
Right.
They don't want people coming to listen to another person that paid to listen to somebody else. You're not a part of the show.
Got it.
You're not a part of the show.
Got it.
So, you know, so for them, it's money, it's business.
Right.
Because they can leave and post a Yelp review that, wow, the club just let somebody talk in my ear, and I didn't pay to see them.
Right.
You know, I just did the Pachanga Casino out here, and this group of women came in, probably from the club. You know, they came in late, first off. So they jumped in, and we could hear them coming down the hall to the showroom. And I was on stage, and I was like, I guess y'all got a couple more acts coming, you know? And people laughed, and they sat down, and they were super loud. Now, there was a table sitting right next to them. This is why I don't let nobody heckle at my shows. Like, I'm going to either shut you down, or I'm going to ask somebody to tell you to leave.
Right.
So this is just me. There was a couple sitting right next to them, and they hadn't had a night out in 4 months.
Oh.
4 months. I found this out after the show, of course. But those chicks were so loud, and I was doing this bit about, like, women that can't find a man. And it was 5 single women that came in super loud. So, yeah, they made my set better, too. But the people sitting next to them couldn't hear me.
Oh, wow. Because
You know,
they were so loud.
They were that loud.
Wow.
And that club was really good about, like, getting them out. All the women had came in, and they immediately ordered a drink. So, first and foremost, the club gonna get their money. They gave them their drinks, gave them a check immediately, and said, oh, we just, one drink at a time. We do the checks. They don't.
Wow.
But they got them to sign for their checks. And then it was like, all right, cool. Y'all can take those drinks down to the floor. Y'all are out of here. And it was like, what? And after the
That's awesome.
it was brilliant. You know what I'm saying? But you got to think, like, this, you're not the only person in the room. So don't ruin the night for everybody else. So afterwards, they told me that. They was like, this was our night out. We got a newborn. We don't have many friends out here. We just moved. And they were about to ruin our night. Like, and I dropped hints in my set that I wanted security to get them out of there. I usually leave it up to us.
Right.
And I saw that couple, and, like, the couple started cussing at them. I was like, all right, this is bad.
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad.
So something got to be done. If you on stage, you control the room. So you got to make sure you knock stuff like that out. Yeah. It's nuances in that game that people don't get because they think we're up there and it's just, oh, he's funny. That's all he has to do.
Right.
The prep that comes behind it. I know you rap, so
Yeah.
They don't see you for hours trying to figure something out.
Right, in your head, like, and I don't know how it is for comedy, but, like, rap, especially before you perform, like, the inside of my head is just a wreck. You know what I mean? Because you're trying to get everything together. Like, you're going over your whole set. Like, for me, it's songs. Like, just going over the lyrics to every song in my head, just making sure, like, when I get up there, I'm not forgetting any words. It's going to happen anyway, but the more you prepare, the less it happens. Because it has happened to me before. I got on stage and...
Blanked?
Yeah. Like, mid-verse. like mid-verse.
So did you just start to,
So
turn me up.
So like I don't know. Every rapper has a go-to. I don't know about comedians.
Yeah, they do.
Every rapper has a go-to. Like in case of that. So like I'll act like the crowd's singing along.
Oh,
doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Doesn't work all the time.
Well, they got to know your song.
Right. Like that. Yeah. If you're like unknown, like it has happened to me where no one knows who I was, but like I'll recycle something out of another song. Like, I've gotten to the point where I can do that. Recycle some words out of another song. Like, if I'm blanking, like, my mind goes to, like, a verse, that's why I like pre-show. I'm going over the tempo of the songs. Because as long as you know the tempo, like, other songs you've written that may be at a similar tempo, I could plug them in.
Oh, okay.
At that point, I could plug them in.
Comics do that.
Yeah.
Comics do that for sure.
Yeah, so.
if you ever at a show... And a comic like pause and be like, give it up for the bartender right quick. Like ain't she working hard?
Yeah.
He done forgot everything. He blanked hard.
I'm blanking. Like
I need to hear you applaud to give it back. It's like the Scream Machine on Monsters Inc. Like give me something. Give me that energy and then I'll figure out where I was going. Because, every comic is messed up a joke, but if you don't know the joke, like, verbatim, then you're going to be like, oh, okay, you don't know.
Right.
We beat ourselves up. Oh, I forgot that one tag or that one punch.
Right. And it's like, oh, man, like, how? How did that happen?
How did I do that?
Like, I wasn't even drinking before. Like,
who's going to know? Who's going to know?
Right. Wasn't even drinking before then. It just happened.
Do you drink before you go rap?
No.
No?
No. Do you drink before you do comedy?
I used to.
Does it help?
No. Not at all. Not at all. And the comics, I know some comics that do that. Like, man, I need like 2 shots. And I'm like, that's why you only got 15 minutes. Because after that, the tequila take over. And you're just talking. I need to be all the way clear before I go up. And bigger clubs will like put in your contract that you can't drink before you go up.
Right.
Like you can have one on stage if it's part of your presence.
Yeah. So... I don't, but so normally my routine is like I'll get some water because depending on what type of show it is, like my mouth will get really dry. I don't know why that happens. It's just like I don't know if it's adrenaline or something.
It
like
might be.
nerves,
It
but
might be. I do a cough drop before
Yeah,
every
yeah,
performance,
yeah.
and it's a mental thing almost. If
right,
I haven't had
almost
it, I'll be like, man, I'm about to sound bad.
yep.
Just cause, like,
It's
yeah.
like I don't know. And afterwards, there's so much stuff going on in my head. Like I'm just mentally prepping that like alcohol, if I have it, I'm probably gonna forget something.
Oh yeah. If I drink, it's a wrap.
Yeah. Afterwards, though, I need a shot immediately.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
that's when the adrenaline is in your
Yeah,
system.
yeah.
And you got to calm back down, or you're not going to sleep.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I need to calm down because the adrenaline's high.
Whether it went good or bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if it does go bad, like I need a shot for real. Like I might need one. I might need one during the set.
Yeah.
Like motion over to the wife, like, hey, go give me a drink because this ain't going well.
Yeah,
You
and
know
like
what I mean?
for me, like I'm right now, I'm at the like on the cusp of being like a headliner or a feature.
Right.
Like tonight, I'm headlining, but a lot of times on like more professional gigs, I prefer to feature because I'm still learning from these headliners.
Right.
And I gotta watch him. You know, I'm about to watch. At that's when I can cool out. I'm still sitting in the room.
Right.
If you did terrible, you're still sitting in the room.
Right.
Like either you backstage or you're in a room full of people that didn't like you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So fortunately, like I'm pretty decent to where that don't happen. But you're sitting there, you're watching, you absorbing. I can sip and chill and just kind of zone out.
Right,
you know?
right.
If it's right after the show, after you headline, you immediately go to like get your merch
Right.
and get ready to see everybody that saw you perform.
Right.
You don't have time to decompress.
Oh wow.
You know
So
what
it's
I'm
just
saying?
like going off stage go.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
you go off, you know, the host will be like, hey, thank y'all for coming, you know, we exiting, blah, blah, blah. You setting up and you right there. So now you're front and center waiting for people to judge you. You know what I'm saying? They're going to walk by with the, ugh, or that was great.
Right.
I get a lot of, wow, you was better than the headliner. And that's such an awkward feeling because you're standing by him.
By the headliner, right.
You know, and I'm like, well, hey, cool tie. I'm trying to deflect
You're right,
to anything.
Right. Does that bother you though? Like if somebody, I mean not necessarily the compliment itself, but if you're like somebody's like, hey, you're better than the headliner, you're like, why am I not headlining it?
No,
you know what I mean? Like,
it's everybody got an ego in this
Right.
game, you know. So if I'm standing next to him, the first thing that goes in my head is, why would you say that?
in front of him. Right.
Like that's just it's just rude.
Right.
I don't know, you know. So and then what's the proper response?
There is no proper response, really.
I'm not gonna go. You right.
Right.
Most
yeah.
of the time, I don't believe that.
Right.
They're headlining for a reason, and then headliner means something different to average Joe than it does to
Right.
us.
Right.
So I'm just like, well, thank you for coming out. That's the most.
That,
I can do.
yeah.
Because I'm not gonna go positive. I'm not gonna go negative.
Yeah, that's why I said thank you is kind of like well, thank you, and then you don't know how the headline is going to perceive thanking you. So I guess that is good.
I always
thank
go
you
with
for
like,
coming out.
Man, you crazy. Go ahead, man. I see you outside, man. You know, like I'll hit them with something that's
Right.
kind of generic because
Right.
it's happened, and then this too. Like it depends on how cool I am with the headline.
Right.
Because I've done it with friends that are headliners, and people will say that, and then we'll talk about it the next day, and it's just like, well, that's their opinion. You know, some people are like, I liked his bag more than I liked your bag, or whatever.
Right.
And you never know. I've seen it happen the other way, where they're like, yo, you was great, you know, you was good, you know, but I see you.
Right.
They'll hit you with something like that, but it's awkward.
So
Don't say that to us, listeners. Just don't do it. Just be like, yeah, you had a good show. You know, email me later and tell me how you felt, but don't put me in that position where I gotta pretend I didn't do better.
Right.
It's not cool.
Right. So, speaking of like show prep and being so far headlining or almost a headliner, does that affect your prep at all, or do you actually try to watch the show?
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah?
I do. I try to see what happens when the host goes up at the beginning of the show.
Okay.
You know, I want to see what the room is responding to. If he already asked all of the common questions, you know, 'cause
Right,
I don't
right,
want to go out there and he didn't already been like, oh, who's married? How old is, you know, all that type of stuff. Because you ask them again, now they're
You
like,
already know, they already been asked that
right,
question.
so now they're like, am I at an interrogation or a comedy show? So
Okay.
if I pay attention ahead of time, they don't have to come out of watch the show mode because I can know those answers already.
Right.
And I can just point people out or do whatever I'm going to do when I go into crowd work.
Okay, I get that.
Yeah,
I get that.
Because to me, you want them to be able to just enjoy themselves. I'm not a fan of that or comics that just want to roast the crowd.
Right.
That's not me.
Right.
But a lot of people, if you're listening, I hear a lot of people say they don't want to go to comedy shows because they feel like the comics is just going to roast them. Come to a Sam Ridley show. I'm not going to roast you unless you ugly. No, I'm just playing. I don't do that. I don't do that unless like you are making yourself so obnoxious
that you have to be roasted.
Yeah, I got to shut you up.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't do that. I saw that at a D-Ray show when people was ready to leave. And, you know, he's up there.
Right.
D-Ray's up there, you know, but people was like feeling away when they left.
Oh, wow.
I don't want you to do that.
Oh, wow.
You know? Like, It was like, man, because they tried to get us to sit up front. And I was like, man, we comics. I'm not going to stop talking back to him. Like, you're going to have to put me out. So, No, I'm not. It was like, no, you know, if y'all want to sit in the showroom, why are all of the open seats up front at a D-Ray show? Because they know.
Right.
They know what's coming.
It's going to happen to
and
me.
He's talented with it.
Right.
So, it's about to be
this is next level roasting.
Rotisserie. Yeah. Like, it's going to be juicy this time. No, not at all. Not gonna be me.
So I don't think I've asked you this yet. So who do you look up to? Comic wise.
You know what? It used to be like the guy that made me really be like, you know, I really like his comedy was Martin Lawrence. And I got to meet him, got to meet Tisha Campbell, which was cool because Martin was the show. You know, but it was mainly Martin, and the more I've done this, is comics that aren't really known. It's the Sean Williams out there. A lot of people don't know who he is, and he's super funny. Deion Cole's one of my favorites.
Oh wow! You know, I was a real fan of Deion Cole.
Yeah,
I was a real. I
remember him like Def Jam. He pull out a piece of paper.
Right. See what's working, and I like that.
But it was a part of his act. You know what I'm saying? Like it's frowned upon if you are professional and use a sheet of paper. But I remember him doing it on Def Jam, and it worked.
Right.
Because he had a persona to match.
Right.
And love him on Blackish, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Dude's a masterful comedian on stage. So, like, I pick up a lot of cues from him. I feel like it's almost cliche to say Chappelle now. Because if you don't, I don't know who don't really bang with Dave Chappelle. Like, you know.
Dude, that last special is... That was wonderful.
Oh, man.
That was wonderful.
You know, that special, man, like, it divided people.
Right. I mean, and I don't know, and I didn't say Chappelle as one of my favorites just for the clichéness of it. But
no, let's talk about it. What about it?
So that special, I think, was deep and funny.
Mm-hmm.
And out of a comedian, that's kind of what I want. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's my preference. Like I want you to be funny about some shit that ain't really supposed to be funny.
We should be able to do that.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Which is why I like Corey Holcomb because he has no filter.
None. No. Now we good.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like if we can't do that, like what are we doing on stage? We're pandering at that point. So it was refreshing, and then man, people didn't pick up on it. Like he came out there in a prison jumpsuit. Like, I already know you're going to want to cancel me for what I'm about to say.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right.
Because it don't matter. I'm going to go home and eat shrimp. Like, I'm good.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or duck, as he put in his Dad, this is duck.
This is duck.
You know, like that, we should be able to get up there and do that. You know what I'm saying? He got up there and he did what we all wish we could do.
Right.
On all the topics, there's like a list of topics that as an up-and-coming comic, they be like, stay away from abortion and this and that. And he was like, I'm going to do all of it.
Yes.
Absolutely all of it.
I knew when he opened up with the Anthony Bourdain joke, and I knew when he opened up with that, I was like, oh, this one's about to cut deep.
That's where the ride is going, right.
This one is about to cut deep, ladies and gentlemen. Stand by.
Yeah, and shout out to Daphne Dorman of the LGBT community. She's trans.
Right.
When he did you see the epilogue?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's the trans woman that he talked to.
Right.
He got to speak to. I had the privilege of getting to speak to her once.
Oh, really?
Unfortunately, she committed suicide
yesterday. Yeah.
And it was because she didn't feel any acceptance from her own community or any other community.
Right.
And after the special, you know, a couple of shit bloggers, I don't even know what else to call y'all at this point, try to make it seem like it was Chappelle's fault. Not at all. Like, cut it out. He, if nothing else, drew awareness to it. And she even said they give you credit for normalizing everything else but us.
Right.
You know? So, like, it's more a reflection on the other people, man. It's tragic. It's tragic. She was a comedian. And
was she?
Yeah, she was. She was, you know. So, all of those losses, I think now that makes 5 since I started that
Holy crap.
have either committed suicide or lost their life, man. Not to get heavy, but you know, it sucks. Everybody, they are literally out here just trying to make people laugh.
Right.
And we put ourselves in the spotlight to be scrutinized,
and,
man.
you know, I mean, any entertainer, like, and there's so much respect on my end for anybody that jumps into entertainment, because that shit ain't easy. At all,
You're putting
man.
yourself in a space to be judged.
Right.
You know,
Constantly.
In a space on social media where people know they can hide behind their screen
Right.
and tell you how they feel.
Right.
So, yeah, man, like, if you're not going to try it, just shut up.
Right.
Just shut all the way up.
Like, being an entertainer, I say this a lot. Like, being an entertainer is like, you have to have, like, the beaten wife syndrome. You know what that is?
Oh, yeah. Man.
You have to have, like, symptoms of it. You know what I mean? To continuously go back and be, like, not every night is going to be great. That's why when you have a great night, it's awesome. You know what I mean?
You know, you'll drive, and like, for me, every gig is a road gig.
Right.
Every gig. Ain't no comedy spots where I live at.
Right.
So I'm going to drive 2.5 hours for your 15 minutes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And wonder if you appreciate it.
Yeah, you have to love it, because if you're traveling to do it, I mean, and then what if it doesn't go well? You know what I mean?
You drove and you got a long ride back. Long way.
Right. So, yeah, I definitely get that.
If you ever been in LA and drove anywhere at 1 in the morning, they're comics going home. That's the people you honking at. Okay? They just came back. If they doing something asshole on the highway, it didn't go well.
Right.
It didn't go well. You know, if they just cooling, cruising, they had a great set. So keep that in mind when you're on the 405.
All right, man. So before we wrap this up, this has actually been a good talk.
Oh, man, thanks for having me, man. For real.
It's actually been a good talk. So before we wrap this up, what is your schedule looking like?
Oh, man, I'm a little bit of everywhere. Like tonight, you know, I'm in Apple Valley. Like we said,
keep on.
On October 23rd, I'll be in Anaheim, and then I'll be at the Shandon Hills Golf Club in San Bernardino. Look up all my stuff, man. Type Sam Ridley Entertainment on Facebook or at Sam Ridley Comedy on Instagram. All that other good stuff, man. Just look me up. I'm always posting my shows everywhere.
All right. Cool, man. Yeah. Cool, man. Any social media? All your social media handles?
Yeah, that's everything is at Sam Ridley, RIDLEY. If you just type it in Google, like, comedy clips will come up. My YouTube channel, Sam Ridley Comedy. Sketches with me, my kids, like, all that good stuff, man. Please follow and check me out.
All right. So I know you do have a couple specials out. Are you putting those on sale online or anything?
Yeah. Same pages. If you just hit me up, my first special I did about 4 years ago is on Blu-ray called "Did I Make It Yet?" That's 2 hours of sketch comedy in the vein of Chappelle and all that type of stuff. Still selling those. I'll be releasing them digitally here shortly, so if you just subscribe to the YouTube channel, you'll get clips here and there of that, man. Yeah, it's been a good ride. It's been a good ride. So just join the fray.
Definitely, man. One of the funniest brothers I know, man.
Appreciate that, man.
So it's been an honor interviewing you. I really want to do it again. You know
yeah,
I mean?
we can get back up, man. Just let me know.
Not really so much an interview. Let's just talk about current stuff. You know what I mean?
Okay, so, absolutely.
So tonight he's gonna be in Apple Valley.
Froggies, 8:30.
Yep. So please, if you're in the area, go check him out. I'm pretty sure you're gonna have a good time. Actually, I might wanna head out there tonight.
Sure,
if I got some time. So I might have to get a kitchen pass. So.
Get your husbandly duties out the way.
Yeah, I might have to get on my knees and beg for that one. So.
You know, should be doing that anyway, so you know.
No.
You gotta plead a little bit, man. Play shot brother.
I mean, I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, after, cause in December we'll be married 10 years, so I'll be I'm lucky. I'm lucky to still be alive. You know what I mean?
That's a conversation in and of itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
So So, man, thank you for coming out, man. Thank you for doing this interview. It's a pleasure watching you do your thing, and thank you for doing this interview. I'm pretty sure it's gonna reach some ears.
Oh, for sure, man, for sure.
Thank you for that, for real.
And y'all let me know like where y'all are at. You know, after you hear this, maybe I'll be doing a show in your area, or I can look into getting one. So you know, if you trying to come out, trying to support, like it's plenty of ways to do it, man. So just let me know.
Yep. So this is your boy Bred Like a King, made us Kelvin Cayley, otherwise known as Blak Makk. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you all. Have love, make sex. Out.